Hello, everyone. Hola todos. We are back. Look at this crew, the hangover crew. We have recovered from the El Clásico hangover for another edition of La Liga Centro. Gemma Soler is joining myself, Alexis Nunes, and Rodrigo Faiz because let's be honest, this is going to be a heavy Barcelona chat in this edition because there's plenty to talk about. Interesting match. They just got by Valencia in a kind of derby of sorts in the last match day in La Liga. Plus, we're going to look at Xavi's 1-year anniversary, just went in charge of Barcelona. What's been good, what's been bad, what's been ugly. It has been an emotional, I would say, 2.5 weeks, Gemma, for Barcelona, hasn't it? I mean, there's the Champions League issue, which I think is a very big heartbreak, probably a bigger heartbreak than many of us expected, because I think it's honest that nobody expected Barcelona to win the Champions League this year, but financially, they really needed it, didn't they?
Hola, Alexis, Rodri. Yes, it's been a huge setback because, it's been an exciting summer in Barcelona with so many shiny signings, and they made us believe, actually, the club, the message they were saying is that we are ready to compete for everything, even though you're coming from the end of a tunnel or a cave there, that they decided to climb faster, and they sell that message that we are ready to compete for everything. Well, they weren't. I think it's kind of normal. They were not able to win anything, just disappointments last season, and they need some time to construct themselves. And yeah, these last 2 weeks, after doing it quite okay in La Liga, they were a huge setback with that Champions League elimination. It's Alexis. It's not that we expected more. Is that in the numbers that you were talking now with the finances? They predicted they would at least reach the last 8. So they thought they will be making that money that they won't be having now. So yeah, it's tough weeks, but I disagree a little bit with Ale. I will give you my arguments later to make you, I don't know, at least think if Xavi has done it better or not that good.
Yeah, it's been Xavi's 1-year anniversary, and we all love Xavi at Barcelona. It's for us the romantics. Rodri's not much of a romantic.
He's not.
Do with Sporting Mexico, and then he's romantic. But there was a match at the weekend for Barcelona. Like I said, they've been through the Champions League heartbreak. They had to focus on La Liga. It was a derby of sorts against Valencia at the Mestalla, which we know is never easy. Rodri, what did you make of it? Gems was there, so she'll tell us the real stuff there, but what did you make of it? Because once again, yes, Valencia fought, they did what they could. Barca just got through. I'm tempted to say, instead of it being Valencia 0, Barca 1, it was really Valencia 0, Lewandowski 1, because once again, he alone was the real difference, wasn't he?
Sing me something new. I mean, I told you in the first episode of this podcast series at the beginning of this La Liga tournament, I told you that Lewandowski was going to make the difference. He's making it. He will still be at that level. And for me, it's the best Barcelona signing of this summer window transfer. I do agree that Barca needs Lewandowski, and maybe Lewandowski doesn't really need Barca at that level as Barca need the player. But at the same time, I agree that Barca is going to be better while Lewandowski is still scoring, because if not, they're going to struggle like they did last season, and it's going to be a complete different side without Lewandowski. That's why he's the top scorer now at La Liga. He's going to be the main scorer this year, because I think that Pichichi is going to go for the Polish guy. And the thing is that for me, that game, it was the kind of game of Barcelona now, but they needed to win, and they did it, which is something important for Xavi. So those voices, or even those rumors around Barcelona, that they were like, okay, maybe Xavi is not the best coach, and he's not the guy that we thought he was going to be, the Barcelona bench. And that's now, those rumors are kind of calmed down now at the moment, and Xavi is going to have that patience that we were asking for him, because since Barcelona is a really young side, and they are an under construction team. Xavi, for me, is the same. It's an under construction coach, and we don't know what's the roof of Xavi, but he needs a little bit of patience, and he need to be a little bit calm down. And that win, I think, he's gonna use it for that for sure.
Gemma, how did you see the game against Valencia? Did you expect more either from Barca or Valencia, and was it just the Lewandowski show again?
Well, it was not a brilliant game from any of both teams in action. I expected a less defensive Valencia because it's what we have seen under Gennaro Gattuso. But I guess they wanted to try to have some points there, and they played a little bit more in the back. And I saw anxiety in Barcelona players. It was the first game after that, another humiliation against Bayern Munich, and I could see they were not having any kind of clarity in the final third, trying to being too much nervous there, and it was a tough game for Barcelona. And at the end, details defined who were the winner of the game, and it was Lewandowski's quality, but it was not a good game at all. And today Lewandowski gave an interview to La Vanguardia, and he said that we're okay, we need to grow, we are in that process. Sometimes we don't have to only play well to win, but we have to be clever to win. So, and I think that was the kind of game. You cannot expect Barcelona playing always well, being that Guardiola's Barcelona. Sometimes you need to suffer. That Guardiola's Barcelona, they did suffer. They played ugly games and got the results. So that was at some point Lewandowski was claiming maybe to the coach or to the team not to always try to maintain that idea, because in the season there are so many minutes, so many games that you have to do that. And Lewandowski, I think he bought a lot of calm for Xavi for this week. It would be very tough if it was a 0-0 draw there. And as Rodri mentioned, he's the best signing. And if there is a chance that Barcelona will compete for La Liga and maybe something else in La Copa del Rey and Europa League, it will be for Lewandowski. It's amazing what he did. This veteran player, I think we can call him like that. It's 18 goals in 17 matches. He has played absolutely almost everything, 1,389 minutes of the 1,530 possible. That's a lot. He will be resting now. He's not going to Czech Republic to play. That doesn't useless at all for Barcelona against Victoria Pilsen. But he has played. He has some discomfort in the back. He has played absolutely everything, and he has done it great.
If it's someone that deserves a little bit of a break, it's definitely Lewandowski. Last season, it was Pedri who deserved a break. Now it's Lewandowski. But with that said, our fellow colleague at ESPN FC, Alejandro Moreno, he recently spoke about it because, of course, it is Xavi's 1-year anniversary. It's been an interesting 1-year anniversary, I suppose, because, like I said, emotional roller coaster ever since El Clásico. Barca were going so well, top of the table as well with Real Madrid, and then came the Champions League heartbreak. Then came the El Clásico heartbreak, I suppose, if you want to call it, and then more Champions League heartbreak, and then back to getting some decent results. If we look at Xavi now, because I feel like we were all there when he came, and we all thought, yes, even though he's young and inexperienced to manage literally one of the best clubs in the world in history, period, we thought this made a lot of sense. If it's anyone that knew the Barca way, it's going to be Xavi. Ale Moreno recently said Barcelona are nowhere near the elite level in Europe. We have to ask, has there been improvement? So Rodri, for you, the good, the bad, the ugly under Xavi in the last year, have you really seen an improvement? Like, can you say, yes, this player was here, or yes, this style was here last year, and Xavi's brought it to here?
This is the difficult question.
Honestly.
Because, I think Gavi and I think Pedri, both of them are, have improved a lot. And I think they're going to be important in the near future. And in fact, they are now key players for Barca. But I didn't find, like any signings or any player now at the moment that has improved that much with Xavi. I think the good thing of Xavi is that the whole team as one have improved. And this is the good thing of Xavi. So that's why, I really trust that Xavi could be the guy in charge of Barcelona to take Barca again back to that elite level. But because it would be quite hard for me to find any. Maybe I would choose Gavi, because we all understand that Pedri is going to be really important, and in fact he is important. But no one expected that Gavi was going to be at that level, because he breaks lines, he defends. He's aggressive, he has potential, and the way he plays, is something completely different than Barca's DNA, which is something that for me is important because he can fit perfectly well in this squad.
Gemma, what do you think as well? Because I remember when Xavi first came towards the end of December, when we had a flash interview with him, and I asked him, and I said that a lot of people now, from what we saw with Ronald Koeman to the few games he was in charge with Barcelona, they said at least Barca now have their fight back. They look like they had the right attitude. Before it was like, what do we do? What's going on? And then there was that embarrassing Clásico at the Camp Nou where everyone was shell-shocked, kind of like how Man United played last season. Like nobody knew what was going on. Everyone was looking at each other, pointing fingers. You do something. No, you do something. But now it looked like they were fighting and they had the right attitude. For me, that's the biggest, I would say, improvement I've seen under Xavi. For you and for the people in Barcelona, what are they saying? What are they thinking 1 year in charge?
Okay, first of all, some people here in Barcelona told me that you cannot come anymore because you have just compared Barcelona to Man United, so maybe you're not going to be welcome.
Let's be honest, after both last season and Barca under Koeman, I don't know who would be more offended.
Hurtful. Anyway, if we call name by name, I would like to mention one per line because I think they have improved. In the defensive line, I would point Eric Garcia. He has definitely improved under Xavi. Yeah. In the midfield, I could say maybe Gavi and Pedri, but they are so young, talented players. I'm not sure if we have to give credit to Xavi, to Koeman, or to themselves. But I would definitely mention Frenkie de Jong. I think he's starting to understand the way he needs to play. And for the first time, I think he might have a future in Barcelona. Maybe he does not because of the question of his contract and that he's one of the players with the highest salaries and maybe they cannot afford him. But now I can see it makes sense, Frenkie de Jong, and I know Xavi worked a lot with him. And he was very shocked at the very beginning that such a talented player didn't understand the position play, the game that Barcelona wants to play. And in the forward line, of course, we have to say Dembélé. It was a player that was out of Barcelona. And now, he's still that player, unpredictable, that you never know what he's going to do and what decision is he going to take. A lot of time he takes the wrong decision, but for the first time in 5 years, he takes the right decision and he's decisive at least most of the times that he plays. So I will say that in individual, he has brought something positive. And then in the competitive side, it's true that it's difficult to give that reason now after that Champions League elimination, but I think they do have that competitive thing that they have to work on. They have to believe in themselves. I think it's a team, they were able to win in Valencia at minute 93, even though it was a bad result. That late goal from Lewandowski that meant the draw against Inter, they were losing. It was a crazy game. They had the strength to do that. So, and in Allianz Arena, they lose, but I think they show they try to fight. It's something we haven't seen in Europe in the last few years for Barcelona. So I really believe that Xavi has improved the team. That the thing is that they sold us. It will be like this. We will be seeing a great Barcelona, and the numbers actually are not that bad because, as Mr. Chip mentions today, Xavi has the same numbers after 38 match days, the same numbers as a guy called Pep Guardiola, 87 points. So it's not that bad, his beginning, but we were expecting probably more. They sell that story that, oh, we're going to be back. We are back. We're here to see you again. And it's too soon, probably.
I think some expectations need to calm down a little bit because, like I said, it is a rebuild. Well, I think we could talk about Xavi and Barca for another 2 hours, but we have to let Gemma go. Quick question before we go. I just want a yes or no from you guys. Do you still think Xavi is the right person to lead Barcelona now? I'm just going to say yes.
Yeah, for me, definitely.
Yeah, for me, yes, I think he is. And honestly, I cannot think of another person who will have the patience in the fan base and everything to have some time to build the project. Yes.
Perfect. Well, we're all on Team Xavi. I do love me some Xavi. I think he's an extremely intelligent person. He's a joy to interview as well. And I think he has a way with the youngsters on Barca, and we know how much they pride their youngsters. So, Gemma, un placer como siempre. So good to talk to you. We'll be back. We'll be seeing you somewhere soon. I'll tell you guys later. But we'll let Gemma go. Thanks, Gemma. We'll see you on the next one.
I'll talk to Barcelona to let you in again. Adios, amigos.
Ciao, Gems. Besos.
Ciao.
Right, well, let's talk about the Madrid teams now. Atletico de Madrid and Real Madrid, both in action, both very interesting results. A loss for Atletico de Madrid. We'll get to that in a bit. But Real Madrid now, they were up against Girona, and I don't think many would have expected that result to end in a draw at the Bernabeu. A controversial draw, I would say, Rodri. You were there. The controversy was the fact that Girona were awarded a penalty. And even Marco Asensio, because it allegedly came off of his arm, he even came out, he even posted the clip on his Instagram after and said, you know what, even he doesn't even know what is considered as a handball anymore. So how do you feel? Were Real Madrid robbed in this one?
Well, first of all, Real Madrid is not at the peak of their form, which is something that we already mentioned before in this podcast series. Secondly, I understand, all this anger from Real Madrid supporters and even from Real Madrid players and staff against the referee. But at the end of this controversy, we're talking about the rules, and I think that the referee, he applied the rules in a proper way. So that's why, sometimes I don't really understand these kind of complaints about all the players and all the even Ancelotti. I interviewed him right after the game, and he said that the penalty was invented by the referee. So that's why I was like kind of
do you think
shocked.
it was a penalty?
I wouldn't see that as a penalty, because it's like a rebound in which first of all the ball touches the chest, and then it goes to Asensio's hand. And I understand that is never a penalty, but the rule says that is a penalty, and they know, because the referees at the beginning of the season, they try to explain all the players, team by team. They travel, and they explain the players from the referee side what is a penalty and what is not a penalty. So that's why, if you take the rule, that is a penalty. And for example, if talking about the disallowed goal that Rodrigo Goes scored, that's also a rule. So that's why, they apply the rules in a proper way. I don't really understand these complaints about, and these, strong sentences by Marco Asensio, maybe not Carvajal, but Carlo Ancelotti, who is a proper guy. He's always gently, and he's close to the people and close to the referees. He said that the penalty was invented. What happens to Real Madrid? I know that they're not in shape, and they fell against Girona, who is kind of a team that is about to avoid relegation. But come on, man, don't complain about these.
I think, I'm not saying that I want to side 100% with Real Madrid and Ancelotti, but I kind of feel their pain there. I do, because I think it's not the referee's fault. I know everyone's quick to go and blame the referee, but it is the rules. Those are the rules. I think that, first of all, was never a pen. In my opinion, from what I think, or what we used to be taught was a penalty or a handball, that was never one. I don't think his hand was in a completely unnatural position or anything like that. It was almost like, what else did you expect him to do? Cut his arm off or something? He couldn't have done that. Yes, I understand. I think the rule books, once again, which is not just in La Liga, but I think everywhere, we see it a lot in the Premier League here, that one day something's a handball, the next day the exact same thing is not a handball. One day something, is a foul that constitutes a red card, the next day it's not. One thing's offside. I don't even know what offside is anymore. It seems like everyone just guesses. But I think the rule book needs to go out the window. I think it's rough. I understand with Real Madrid fans why they would feel hard done. The goal being disallowed by Rodrigo, I did agree that definitely didn't look like it constitutes as a foul, but I think the penalty was hard done. Eventually, though, I think that's just frustration speaking. Real Madrid being Real Madrid at the Bernabeu should have definitely taken care of Girona a lot easier than it was. Props to Girona. They celebrated and breathed a sigh of relief after. That just shows you how big of a result that draw was for them. But I think it's just one of those where we all need to revisit the rule books, but something tells me that's probably not going to happen. But let's move on then quickly so we can talk about Atletico de Madrid before we wrap. 3-2, 5-goal thriller. Who would have expected that one up against Cadiz, and now a loss, and now maybe more pressure on our friend Diego Simeone?
I don't understand what happens to Atletico Madrid. Believe me, Alexis, because when I was watching the game,
Champions League too. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, but I was watching the game and I was like, my God, what 2 weeks for Simeone? Right after being knocked out by Bayer Leverkusen of the Champions League, and now Cadiz. Are you serious? Are you serious? I mean, what happens to Atletico Madrid? I don't know if this is a player issue or a sporting direction issue, or maybe a Simeone issue, but the lack of football that they are having through in that game. And suddenly, Joao Felix came in as a substitute in the second half. He scored 2 goals, or at least 1.5, because the first one is a rebound by a Cadiz defender. And then, he missed, the third goal. And in the next play, Cadiz scored, in the very last minute of the game. And, and suddenly, all the Atletico Madrid have built in these recent years is like, they tore it down in less than 2 weeks. And no one understands what happens and who's the fault of this, no?
Yeah, exactly. Well, just like that, all good things must come to an end, I suppose. And this episode, we've had so much to unpack that we're not even done yet, but we do have to wrap things up. We're going to save some of our preguntas difíciles to talk about, because it is not a good look that there's only one La Liga team left in the Champions League. And shock, it is, of course, Real Madrid, the defending champions. We'll unpack that because everyone now has been questioning the style of play and the quality of La Liga. So we'll get to that. We'll probably have to have another episode. Why not? Squeeze in another LaLigaCentro before the World Cup, right, Rodri?
Yeah, sure. We should.
Yeah, we'll probably do that after the next match day. Why not? But thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, we'll be back probably sooner than you expect. Keep sending in any preguntas difíciles and all your thoughts on La Liga, and we'll be back for the next one. Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis, and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.